Quick now, name one woman who's made her name conducting a symphony orchestra. It's okay, take your time. Well, maybe it's not coming to mind because, like the American presidency, conducting a symphony orchestra is one of those glass ceilings that's apparently very hard to break. But Gemma has broken it. She's the music director of the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra, and she joins us now, and it's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too, Steve.
Thank you for making the drive in all the way from the ambitious city to be here today. Can we just start? Let's just talk a little bit about your background. Your earliest connection with music, do you remember it?
Oh, that's a hard question. I mean, music's been my life. My family aren't musicians professionally, but I always had music around in the house. So, and my mum played the violin. She encouraged me to play the violin too. So I started when I was 5.
You started playing the violin at 5?
Yes.
Okay, that sort of anticipates my next question, because no 5-year-old girl, I don't think, grows up saying, I'm going to be a symphony orchestra conductor. You probably start with an instrument.
Yes.
So you took violin for how long?
Oh gosh, I mean, a very long time. And then I started playing piano and singing in choirs, but the violin really stuck because I could play that with my friends. And I started playing in youth orchestras and absolutely loved being part of that really large sound with all of my peers. And then I started watching The Conductor and thinking what an interesting job that was. We had several different conductors, so...
This is you growing up in New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay.
And I could see how they were making the youth orchestra play differently just by what they were doing individually. And then I got the opportunity at 15 to conduct. And from the very first get-go, I thought, this is it. This is my musical voice that I can best express that with.
At 15, you knew that?
I knew that,
What was
yes.
the circumstance? Tell me more about it.
It was at high school, and the teacher was leaving, our music teacher, so we wanted to give her a goodbye gift. And in assembly, we prepared some Bach for her to enjoy.
And did she?
Oh, yes, I think she did. It was very nice. So,
and clearly you did.
Yes, absolutely. And I was talking to my best friend, I just thought, you know, with a conductor, it's all about communication, it's about understanding deeply the music and being able to express that, and having leadership skills. And I just knew that it felt very natural and I could work on it and become a conductor.
Do you still play the violin?
I don't anymore. I stopped maybe 2 years ago just because it got too busy. I was traveling too much. And really for me, I wanted to be a conductor ever since I was very young. So they told me that I had to play the violin and learn an instrument very well. And I totally agree with that. I loved it, but conducting's my thing. You
presumably at some point in your career, though, both conducted and played the violin at the same time in the same concert, yes?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that's quite a, I've seen Peter Ungen do that, I've seen, Pinkel Zuckerman do it. It's quite an incredible thing
They're very
to see.
Amazing musicians, yes, absolutely.
Well, they're not bad, but how is it doing that? How do you actually do that at the same time?
Well, I think the concertmaster position is what led me to start conducting, because that is a leadership role in the orchestra. And just with the bow, the way you draw the bow and give people gestures to start the music, that's really what a conductor does, just without the violin.
Don't you have to be so much, though, in your own head and aware of your own, I mean, playing your own instrument, and then suddenly you have to stop doing that and worry about what everybody else is doing in the next second. I don't know how you get your head around that. But you do, I guess.
Yes, you just do it.
You just do it. Who were your favorite conductors growing up?
I really loved Simon Rattle and Bernard Haitink.
Where were they from?
England and Holland. But I read books about them, and I watched them on YouTube and videos and listened to their recordings. Simon Rattle was such a wonderful human being and a great leader, energizer of music. And when he was young, he roused over 100 people I would gather to do Mahler too. And it just inspired me to gather my friends and do smaller pieces, but still get people together and play music.
Did you ever get to meet either of them?
I've met Simon Rattle, yes, and I've met Bernard Haitink.
Yes,
you're
both.
Right. Yeah, I've met them both.
And they know what you do?
Oh, well, I think they meet a lot of people, but it was really great to meet them.
And what was it about? I mean, can you sort of describe? Well, actually, before I ask that, I noticed there are no women on that list of who are your favorite conductors. And I presume that's because there weren't any when you were growing up or going through your formative musical years.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Although I have to say, my music teacher, who was leaving, was a woman, and you know, she conducted the orchestra. So I think there are a lot of conductors in the school area, and then we have a great conductor, Karen Grills, who does the choir in New Zealand, and national choir. So.
Okay. Well, let's pick up the story. Okay, from New Zealand, you grew up in New Zealand. I guess you went to Baltimore first for your master's?
Yes.
And did that bring you to North America for good when you came over to Baltimore?
Did. Yes.
So something happened there, and you decided, okay, I'm staying here.
I think so. There's just so many great orchestras here, so much music that I can work a lot here, and I've just never looked back.
I've checked your resume out.
Okay.
You have got or had professional relationships with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra, the Chamber Orchestra of San Antonio, Texas, the Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra. So I'm wondering, and remember, you're talking to a guy born and raised in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada here, but I am wondering, so what are you doing heading up the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I mean, this is a dream job for me. Absolutely. And it is a fantastic level of playing that they present. The players are exceptional quality, and they're very much dedicated and focused and engaged with the orchestra playing, and also playing at schools and the hospitals in the area. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of it.
Okay, I'm not meaning to sound skeptical here, but to me, like a dream job is the New York Phil or the London Symphony or, you know, Cleveland Orchestra or the Toronto Symphony. Not necessarily I mean, you don't grow up in Wellington, New Zealand saying, I want to be the conductor of the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra someday.
That's a good point.
So let me push back a bit on that and tell me what you mean.
I think you have to find the right fit. For me, I was looking for a collaborative orchestra, one that sounded beautiful, and one that we could grow together, but I could very much enjoy the work. And when I came to the Hamilton Philharmonic for the first time, they inspired me with their music. I thought it sounded beautiful. I was moved by it. And then I got to know the orchestra, the players, how engaged they were, how much they put into the orchestra. A lot of orchestras, maybe not the ones you're naming, but other orchestras aren't as, the musicians aren't as engaged. They play and then they leave. These ones have very positive attitudes, and they want to be involved. And for me, that seemed like a perfect fit for an orchestra that I'm looking at.
How'd you get the job?
I did an audition. So that meant I came and guest conducted a concert, and we did Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, and we worked with Martin Beaver on Saint-Saëns 3, and
I know him. We went to the same school.
Oh, wow.
Martin Beaver and I. Yes, we did.
He is so wonderful.
His dad was a teacher at that school.
Wow.
He's not bad.
Small world. Yeah, he's a real genius. And the audience got a vote. The orchestra got a vote, and I also was put in a room with a round table, like the Knights of the Round Table, and put at the one end of it, and asked questions for 3 hours. So
by whom?
The panel, the conductors.
And obviously you passed.
Yeah, it was very good.
I got to ask you, how old are you?
I'm 29.
You're 29, and you are conducting a major Canadian symphony orchestra.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Good for you. Do they make fun of your accent?
Oh, no, they're very polite about it. We're in Canada, remember?
That's right, we're Canadian. Well, you know, I suspect it's different for every orchestra, but I'm really interested in what the musical director / conductor does on the job. And in that chair, once upon a time, well, it wasn't too many years ago, we had the conductor of the Toronto Symphony, Peter Ungen. And here's how he described what he does, and then let's compare and contrast, okay? Roll it, please.
Actually, it's quite collaborative. I mean, I obviously come up with a lot of concepts, but we work with a large team. We have a fantastic artistic team, and we have several musicians from the orchestra who are involved and have meetings every few weeks and the other members of staff. So the financial people, of course, are sitting there saying, wait a minute, how many times are you going to have that expensive artist? How many times are you going to use a huge chorus or whatever it happens to be? And then, of course, we have the marketing people who are responsible ultimately for putting together the program, the brochure, and making it look balanced and wonderful.
And they probably ask, can I sell this?
Absolutely, as they should. We have to be responsible.
So that's how the Toronto Symphony's done it under his leadership for the past decade and more. How about under you? How do they do it in Hamilton?
Well, I think it's quite similar. I was already talking to you about the collaborative approach. I would say, though, he was talking about the orchestra as a whole. You were asking about the music director and what the conductor does. I think that we have to lead the artistic vision of the orchestra. There's the musician side, and then there's the management side. We obviously make a whole. But for the artists, we have to direct what programming vision we have, what music do we want to present, how are we going to grow the orchestra's excellence year by year, and we also have to look at what are our priorities in terms of concerts that we're targeting, or I don't want to say targeting because it's a thing, but we're serving, which audiences are we serving for each one, and what is our priority?
Do you take suggestions from members of the orchestra in terms of what they want to play during a program?
Actually, that's something I've instigated while I've started on here. So we have a player's choice program where they give in suggestions, and then I'll make sure there are at least 2 or 3 pieces in the season that they've chosen themselves.
How does that go over okay with the troops?
They love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
What are, as you described the orchestra that you obviously wanted to get better under your leadership, what are the benchmarks that somebody in your position sets that you say, here's what we've got to hit during my time on the job? What would those benchmarks be?
There are a whole range of benchmarks that you can opt for. So you have to get to know the orchestra first and then start to strategize with the board, with the musicians, with the staff. And we're definitely in that stage right now. I don't know if I could really pinpoint them for you publicly, but...
Well, is it something like bums in seats?
Oh, you know what? We have a very good attendance rate, but yes, of course we want as many people to be reached by our music. I think we are looking at youth education and seeing how much we can serve Hamilton schools and the young musicians there. That is definitely a priority right now. And also, I think the music of today, Canada's music of today, how can we present this to as many people as possible in the best possible light?
At its fullest complement, the Hamilton Philharmonic is how many musicians?
It's 32 core players.
32. So it was one of the benchmarks. I'd love to find a way to get 5, 6, 7, 8 more players in that orchestra.
Yes, that's definitely a goal that we'd like to seek for.
Now let me go back to conducting. Some male conductors that I have seen over the years, Peter's not one of them, I should add, are notoriously imperious in the way they lead an orchestra. And, you might even say they rule a bit by fear and all of that other stuff. What adjective would you use to describe your style? I'm guessing imperious is not one of them.
I usually look at it as a balance between, my job is not to be the dictator. It is to help people, the musicians, feel comfortable and inspired at the same time so that they can play freely without distraction, and they can also feel energized to reach higher than even they thought they could reach.
You are probably, though, the first female conductor they have ever worked with, and maybe the youngest as well. Do you have those moments where you sense they are kind of challenging your authority, maybe because of your youth or because of your gender?
I haven't had that yet. Fingers crossed.
Do you look forward to it?
My first job as a conductor was when I was 19. I got a youth orchestra position. And even then, with the youth orchestra, some of the players went up to 25. So I immediately had that youth issue, and I learned a way that you just don't make it a personal thing. We're all professionals, or we're all young musicians who are passionate about music with one common goal. And if we focus on the music and we focus on that goal that we all want to achieve together, there is none of that nonsense of distraction.
How much of your job is the responsibility for just sort of financially keeping the whole thing afloat? Because we know, you look around North America, I mean, symphony orchestras everywhere are having a tough time.
Well, I'm the artistic leader, so luckily it's not, the brunt of it is not put on my shoulders. I'm pretty realistic though. When I look at programming, it's like this magnificent jigsaw puzzle of wonderful pieces that I want to put together, but I need to see how many players are needed for each piece. And if, say, we need 10 extra players for a 5-minute piece, there's just no way I'm going to be able to program it that way. So you can also be very creative. Every program, I want to have a unified message in it. So either a story or a theme or a subject or a style of music that people can really grab onto when they go to their concert hall for the evening. So I think looking at these creative aspects and the reality of being sensible and responsible with your suggestions, it helps.
Hamilton Place is your home base, yes?
Yes.
I remember when Hamilton Place opened. I mean, it's got to be 45, 46 years ago already.
Wow.
Is it still a good hall to play in?
It is. It's a really nice hall.
It holds up acoustically and aesthetically and otherwise?
It's a beautiful hall. If you've seen the brick pyramids on the sides and the wood and on the stage, I think it's a magnificent hall.
I've performed there, you know.
You have?
I narrated "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" with Horace Brott and the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra in 1973.
That's wonderful.
How about that? I performed at Hamilton Place before you did.
Well, we'll have to get you back there.
Don't tempt me. I might just say yes. Let's, Gemma, let's finish up on this. I Googled the top 50 conductors of all time.
Okay.
And what came up was 49 men and 1 woman.
Oh, gosh.
And I hate to say it, I never heard of the woman. Do you know who Susanna Mulkey is?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah,
okay.
she's wonderful.
She's from Finland. You have heard of her.
Yes.
She's still, well, she's born in 1969.
I've
so
assisted her in New Jersey with the New Jersey Symphony.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take for the ratio not to be 49-1, but maybe something a little more even?
I think that we should encourage young people to pursue their passion and tell them if they work hard for it, if they have the determination, and that they'll succeed. And I think just not making it a woman or a man issue will help.
Great. Thank you very much, and best of luck with the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra and your relatively new responsibilities there.
Thank you, Steve.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit TVO.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.